Hello, hi, welcome back, or if you are new here, hi, welcome. My name is Wendy Ivy Martinez. I am a geek and I make videos all about books and things, and today we're going to be kicking off the year with my New Year's resolutions, pick my TBR for 2024. So let's just go ahead and get started because I have quite a few books here that I am very excited to be reading in the month of January. So starting off with number one, so a really big New Year's resolutions that I have that I really do think that I'm going to hit this year is to get 1,000 subs on Booktube. So for this prompt, I'm like, okay, I want to be popular on YouTube. Maybe why don't I read a popular book? So for that one, of course, I picked none other than the ACOTAR series. I have read the first book twice, and I'm going to reread it again this year, and I'm actually going to do a whole vlog where I read the series for the first time, because even though I read the first one, I haven't read the rest of the series, so you get to experience my thoughts in this series as it goes along, and I'm just so excited to finally get to this one because I've been wanting to read it and I just haven't. So I feel like if I make a reading vlog dedicated to it, it'll push me to actually read it. And if you guys don't know, ACOTAR, basically like a Beauty and the Beast retelling with a more badass main character. Instead of Belle, we have Feyre, and she basically fends for her family because her dad doesn't really do anything and her sisters don't really do anything either, when she accidentally kills the wrong wolf and she ends up killing a fae in disguise. And so in retaliation, Tamlin the fae is like, alright, so now you're gonna come live with me because you killed one of my people. And it's good, okay? And this is the second story to that, and I'm gonna do a whole reading vlog dedicated to it, so I'm excited for that, you guys, so please stay tuned for that. If you guys have read ACOTAR, there will be spoilers, and if you haven't read ACOTAR, read ACOTAR with me so we can talk about this together. So my second New Year's resolution is to get 5,000 subscribers on my paranormal / witchy YouTube channel. So I have another YouTube channel that I've been doing for a lot longer. The Booktube channel, I've pretty much only been making Booktube related videos since August or like late July of 2023, and the other channel I've been doing it for a few years. So for this one, for this prompt, I want to read a paranormal book, and for that I am choosing Blood on the Tracks by Shuzo Oshimi. Now, I don't really know if this one is paranormal. I don't know too much about it. I do know that it is a horror manga, and I have heard that if you are a fan of Junji Ito's work, you would really enjoy Blood on the Tracks. So I really want to read this and check it out for myself to see if I really like it, because I really do enjoy Junji Ito. So I'm hoping to expand on my horror manga authors and series, and I'm excited to get into this one. Now, my next New Year's resolution is to jump into my high fantasy era. So I read a lot more in 2023 than I have ever read in my whole life, and I realized what I do enjoy when it comes to books and what I don't enjoy. And what I did find that I enjoyed is fantasy romance, especially the fantasy elements of fantasy romance. So I want to start reading more high fantasy. So for this, I chose a prompt to read a book by a popular fantasy author. And of course, I have to read from the King of Fantasy, Brandon Sanderson, and I'm going to be reading Yumi and the Nightmare Painter. I'm actually going to be reading quite a few of Brandon Sanderson's novels. This is going to be yet another reading vlog / reading challenge video that I want to do, where I read a few of Brandon Sanderson's books and I decide if he's worth the hype for me or not. And I have quite a few of his books already, so I am all geared up and ready to enter my high fantasy era, especially when it comes to Brandon Sanderson. I don't know why I chose this book specifically. There's just something about the cover that really draws me to it. I don't even know too much of what it's about. I think we have like two people from two different worlds that somehow collide, and it just seems, I don't know, there's something about this cover that just really draws me in, that I just think is just, I don't know, I just think it's going to be an amazing read. So another New Year's resolution that I have for 2024 is to focus more on my physical health. I had quite a few health problems in 2023, including I found out that I have like IBS. So I want to focus more on what I'm eating. I found out that I had a whole bunch of allergies in the foods that I was consuming. I was consuming them, and it led to all these like stomach issues. So I want to read a book about like fitness or nutrition. So for that, I chose Intuitive Eating, a revolutionary anti-diet approach. This comes with a workbook that teaches you how to like eat intuitively and how to stop eating, because I have a habit where even though I'm full, if I know that it tastes good, I will continue to eat it, and I need to not do that, especially when it comes to like processed foods and foods that I know that are bad for me, or foods that I'm sensitive to, for example, wheat or egg or soy. I love those things, so I can't eat any of it. So I really want to read this one this month as well, because I want to read at least one nonfiction every month. That's another one of my bookish goals. So this is going to be my nonfiction read for January. Okay, so my next New Year's resolution is to take 3 trips this year in 2024. Last year in 2023, I did end up taking 3 different trips. I went to New Orleans, I went to Ohio, and I took a trip to Joshua Tree, and it was amazing. I had a great time, and I want to make sure that I take at least 3 trips this year as well. And so for this one, I want to read a book that takes place in another part of the world. And for that one, I chose The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab, because I believe this takes place in France. Yeah, France, 1714 is the first thing that it says. So since it takes place in France, I really want to read this book. If you guys don't know, this is basically about a woman named Addie LaRue who makes a deal with pretty much the devil that she wants to live forever. So she lives forever, but the dark side of it is that I think everybody that meets her ends up forgetting her right after. So she's very forgettable. And so it's both a blessing that she gets to live forever, but yet a curse because no one really remembers who Addie LaRue is. And I've just heard nothing but good things about this book, so I am so excited to finally read it. Like, I have a few people that this is like their favorite book of all time, so I can't wait to read it. So the next thing is I want to do more fun book challenge videos. So for this prompt, I have a few books actually, because I am going to have a reading vlog that's coming out this month in like a week or two, where I read books solely based off of the cover. So I don't look up the Goodreads reviews, and I don't even look at the synopsis. I actually try to guess the synopsis. And I just go into the bookstore and just look at the covers, and if the covers look interesting, then just pick it up and take it home. And I have 4 books for that I will show you. The first book I actually am on the verge of finishing. So that is The 3 Body Problem by Cizin Liu. And because I am almost finished with this one I can actually tell you what it's about. In this story, we basically follow 2 main characters, one in the past and one in the present. The one in the past is named Yi Wenji. She basically sees her dad die before her eyes, and that causes a lot of trauma in her, and she ends up working for the enemy basically in this Red Coast base, and she's an astrophysicist, and they use her science to use this thing to communicate with extraterrestrials, but we don't know if she actually contacted extraterrestrials. And in the present time, we follow Wang, who is a nanotech researcher. Like, he researches this like particle collider is what he's a part of. And there's so much to this plot. So we have these 2 characters, and they come together when we follow this video game called The 3 Body Problem, and Wang basically plays this video game trying to figure out what is the problem with this society. But also in real life, his life is kind of going bonkers. It's all over the place because physicists have been unaliving themselves because they're starting to realize that the law of physics don't really exist, and that's driving physicists mad. And then Wang actually sees this happen, like he sees the universe flash before his eyes, and he's like, whoa, physics aren't real, what is going on here? And the story unfolds from there, and it's so good. It's so good. It's so far, it's looking like a 5 out of 5 star for me, because it's just, I mean, look at all the tabs. Like, I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed. This book was so good. So that is The Three-Body Problem by Cizan Liu. And the next book that's a part of the challenge is The Paleontologist by Luc Dumas. All I know is that, from what it says right here, is that this is a, they say it's like a clash between Jurassic Park meets The Shining. Next we have Among Thieves. This one I just got because of the cover. I don't know what it's about. I think it's a fantasy. I got it from the fantasy section, so I know it's a fantasy. And I don't know what it's about, but just look at the cover. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Speaking of another, last one is Hall of Smoke by H.M. Long. I'm planning on reading this one for the reading vlog as well. Again, I just think powerful female figure on the cover, fantasy novel. That's all I need to know. Give me a powerful MC in a fantasy novel and I'll read it. And there's that. Okay, so last one is To Get Out of Debt. So I had a bad habit with credit cards last year, and I wasn't very wise with credit cards. So I'm finally paying it off, and I should have paid them off by March if everything goes according to plan. So because of this, I put, opening credit cards can be like Pandora's box. Read a book about a bad decision that leads to disaster. And for this, since we talked about Pandora's box, what other book than Pandora's Jar by Natalie Haynes? This one is Women in the Greek Myths. So it's basically Greek myth retellings of different women throughout Greek mythological stories, including Pandora's box. So I'm excited to read this one. I used to read a lot of Greek mythology. I really enjoy Greek mythology, and I haven't read any Greek mythology in a while. I don't think I read any Greek mythology in 2023. So I'm excited to get back into it in 2024, so I will be reading this one. Anyways, you guys, that is it for the books that I'm going to read in January 2023. My New Year's resolutions, pick my January TBR. What is on your January TBR? What are you the most excited to read? And what is the first book that you're picking up this month? Let me know down in the comments below. If you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell to be notified when I post. I also have the link to my book talk, as well as my Goodreads and my Amazon wishlist as well down below. Make sure to follow me on Goodreads though, because I really want more Goodreads friends where we can like each other's reviews and stuff like that. Anyways, you guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Stick around for the next video, and I hope to see you soon. Bye!